Hello and welcome to the BNz World Report. I am your host, Angela Ray, where we will be discussing global topics and events from around the world. Our first story comes from the Newz to Know section of BNz.com. Michael Jackson's concert film will be due in October. Of course, we know that the Michael Jackson This Is It concert tour never hit the stages in London. However, the film version of the concert will hit theaters on October 30th. A Los Angeles Superior Court judge did say that the sale of Jackson's rehearsal footage could be done into a movie by Sony Entertainment Pictures. Sony will release the film This Is It on October 30th. Now, the majority of the footage was shot in June as Jackson rehearsed for the 50-date tour. And of course, a lot of the sources familiar with the concert footage negotiations say that about 90% of the proceeds from the film will go to Jackson's estate and about 10% will go to AEG Live, and that is the promoter for the concert. Staying on brandnews.com, our next story featured in health news coming from time.com, why exercise will not make you thin. Jay, are you paying attention to this one? You know, we've been working out a lot lately, so maybe there's a reason why exercise is not making us thin. Now, more than 45 million Americans now belong to a health club, and that number is up from 23 million who belonged to health clubs in 1993. And about $19 billion is spent here in the United States on gym memberships, and yet with all of those memberships, the number of people who are obese continues to rise. As a matter of fact, about one-third of all Americans are considered obese. So what's going on here? Well, the conventional rule of thumb or the conventional advice to exercise as a way to lose weight is fairly new. And as recently as the 1960s, doctors did not encourage people to exercise, particularly older patients, because they were afraid of injuries. But today, of course, doctors encourage everyone to exercise, especially the elderly. For many reasons, people who regularly exercise are at significantly lower risk for all types of health issues, particularly those of the heart. So, what's going on here? Bottom line is, while it's true that exercise burns calories, many times those who do exercise find that they have an increase in appetite. So, are we saying that you shouldn't exercise? No. But if you're like me and you've been working out and you haven't seen the scales move, there may be a reason why. So, don't give up. Now, last week we reported a story, a very sad story about a premature child that was born and then declared dead. The child was given back to its mother, and the child died within about 6 hours from being reunited with the mother. Well, we have another story that ends on a much happier note, and this story is from the telegraph.co website across the water. And actually, in Paraguay, there was a father who had received his premature son delivered to his house. The son was pronounced dead at the hospital, and about 4 hours later, the son was delivered in a temporary coffin to the father's home. And when the father opened the coffin to say his final respects to his infant son, he saw that not only was the child breathing, but the child was also crying. So this elated father rushed the child back to the hospital, and the child seems to be doing fine at this point. Now, how did this happen? Well, medical professionals at the hospital say that they had tried to revive the child, but the child's heartbeat was so low that it was undetectable, and the premature baby weighed in at about 17.6 ounces. In keeping with news about women, Muslim women uncovered the myths about the hijab. Of course, the hijab is the veil that's worn over the head of many Muslim women, not only in Middle Eastern countries, but around the globe. And many times there are a lot of myths that are associated with wearing this particular garment. Now, the purpose of wearing the garment is so a woman can cover herself so that a man gets to know her mind instead of her body. And of course, we know that in America, maybe we could use more of those, Jay, particularly in some of those rap videos. And this story comes to us from CNN.com. Also from CNNmoney.com, stocks pop after the Feds. Stocks extended gains this week after the Federal Reserve held interest rates near historic lows and signaled the economy has finally started to recover. Now, I don't know if I necessarily believe the economy is recovering just yet. I haven't noticed any big differences in my bank account. But according to the website, a majority of economists thinks that the recession, which began in December of 2007, is over. And this is according to a Wall Street Journal survey conducted within the last few days. So those of you who have been putting off buying big ticket items, according to this survey, looks like there is some sunlight at the end of the tunnel. And finally, in our last story, and this also comes from CNN.com, a man was arrested over a $65 million jewelry heist. And this took place in London. The arrest took place last week. Some $65 million in merchandise was stolen in the August 6th robbery. Now, there were two men involved in the robbery, which happened in broad daylight about 4:40 p.m. The men, dressed in well-to-do suits, walked into the jewelry store and took the jewelry, and also had a handgun with the employees, threatened the employees basically with a handgun. Now, one man is about 30 years old and is believed to be in his 30s, again, short hair, black, and then one man is white, and this is according to Scotland Yard. Both men are thought to have spoken with a British accent. Now, apparently these broad daylight robberies are becoming quite common, as this is the time when most jewelry stores do not have their alarm systems on, even though many of the sidewalks are filled with people walking by. And that's it for this week's BNz World Report. Be sure to continue to visit the News to Know section of the website for daily news. And also, if you're a big music fan like I am, you'll want to visit the Music Box section. Make it a great day.